All right, so starting with number 1, we need to evaluate the expression. So we are going to be taking, and in place of x, we're going to be putting in 5, and in place of y, we're going to be putting in 4. So it says that we want to take x squared and then plus 2 times the quantity, and x is 5 plus y, which is 4. And so order of operations tell us parentheses first. And so inside those parentheses, we're going to add together 5 plus 4 to get 9. So I'm going to keep the 5 squared here, plus 2, and then add this together to get 9. Next then is our exponents. So I will take this 5 squared, I'm going to write it up here. That will become 5 times 5, which is 25, plus 2 times 9. I then either have addition or multiplication. And so I'm going to do multiplication next for order of operations. And that's going to give me an 18. And then I'm going to add that together, and that's going to give me a 43. And so the value is 43. All right, if we look at the next one, it asks us to simplify. The first thing we're going to do is distributive property. So I'm going to multiply 8 times 4 to be 32, and 8 times t to be 8t. Then I'm going to distribute minus 4 times t, and then distribute here minus 12. And then we're going to work on combining like terms. Our t values, 8 minus 4t, will give us 4t. And then our constant values, a 32 minus 12 will give us a positive 20. And so therefore our simplified version is 4t plus 20. Our next one asks us to solve. And if we solve this with a fractional coefficient, we multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal is flipping the numerator and the denominator, so that the numerator 5 and the denominator 5 cancel out, and that cancels out, and we're left with n equals. You can either multiply straight across and make it 60 over 4, or you can cancel first and then multiply, which then would still be 15. And the next one we're going to solve. And so we see a minus 6 first. We're going to add 6 to both sides. And that'll give us y over 8 equals 10. And then if I see divide by 8, I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. And that is going to give me y equals 80. Right, the next one, determine whether the equation below is an identity or whether it has no solution. Well, to do so, I'm going to have to take and do the distributive property here. So this will become a negative 16x plus 24. This side has nothing to be done to it, so I'm going to leave it as a negative 16x minus 24. If we look and we compare the left side to the right side, we see that what is the same is that they have the same variables, so those would cancel out. But what's going to happen is we're going to be left with something that is not true. 24 does not equal negative 24, and therefore this one has no solution. If we look at the next one, we're going to take and it asks us, is this a identity? Is it a no solution? Or does it come out to a numerical answer? So I'm going to have to take first and do the distributive property. So this is going to be positive 4c plus 64 equals negative 4c minus 16. So what's going to happen here is that I see that my variables on my left side and my right side are different. So if they're different, I automatically can say it's not going to be an identity, it's not going to be a no solution. I know that it's going to come out to an answer. It's going to tell me what c is equal to. So I'm going to need to take and add 4c. That's going to give me 8c. And I'm going to take and subtract 64, excuse me. And when I take negative 16 minus 64, that's going to give me a negative 80. And I'm at the point now where I have 8c equals a negative 80. If I divide both sides by 8, then c is going to equal negative 10. Solving this equation, this is a proportion, a special type of equation where we have one fraction set equal to another fraction. We're going to take and use cross multiplication, and so that's going to give me 5m equals 4 times 4 is 16. When I divide both sides by 5, I'm going to get 16 divided by 5, which is going to be 3 1/5, and here the directions set an integer or a decimal, so I'm going to have to turn that 1/5 into a decimal, and that would be 3.2. If we look at this next one, same type of equation that is a proportion, so I'm going to take and cross multiply here, so this is going to be 5 times b plus 3 equal to, I'm going to cross multiply here, 4 times b minus 7. I'm going to do the distributive property. This is 5b plus 15. This is 4b minus 28. And now I'm solving an equation with variables on both sides. So I'm going to take and subtract 4b. Now I'm done to a one-step equation where I'm just going to take and work with inverses. So I have that minus 15. And so therefore I'm going to take that plus 15, I'm going to subtract 15. And I'm going to have b is equal to a negative 43. Last one asks us to solve the inequality. So I have 2w plus 1 is greater than or equal to 9. So I'm going to work with that plus 1 first and subtract 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. And then I'm going to divide by 2. When I divide by 2, I'm dividing by a positive number, so I don't need to change the direction of the inequality symbol. So it's going to stay greater than or equal to. And my answer is going to be w is greater than or equal to 4.